Ain't nobody fighting.
Fuck you, man. Fuck you, man.
Fuck you, motherfucker.
Fuck you, bitch.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Eric Mulder here with Cobra Conversations. Thanks for joining me today. In today's video, I, along with my old sergeant, Ray Reyes, will be examining a use of force that took place a little while ago in LA. And it brings up a lot of issues that officers face and that citizens may face when addressing the police. And I think we attack it pretty well from looking at things from both perspectives. We're honest and we're open. We give our opinion. Yes, there are many times where we may be critical of the officer and we may be critical of the suspect. We believe rightfully so. And once again, our goal is never to damn or just talk about someone just for the sake of talking about them. But we think that deep dives like this can help everyone across the board. It can help the average citizen when coming in contact with the police, as far as help them be able to articulate themselves well and not instigate and not excite and not add, throw fuel on the fire. And it also can, we believe, will be a good teaching point, a good teaching tool for officers or aspiring officers out there, and offer some insight as to the need to develop thick skin, the need to be able to use the appropriate amount of force when necessary. There's some pretty strong language here, so a heads up there. But we, again, think that this can be beneficial to everyone listening. So we appreciate you guys checking it out. Leave your comments down below. We would greatly appreciate it. We'll see you in the video.
So now, just so I know, did this guy call in 911?
Someone called in 911. He's the owner of the property.
Oh, okay.
He said there's a guy who's on the property. He's kind of aggressive at times. He won't leave.
Right.
I need to clear it out. I'm getting fines from the city that I need to do something about it.
Okay, I got it.
And he says, I think we've been out there, you guys have been out there before.
Right. And the officer would probably know that because it says there's been repeated calls here.
Yeah.
And they might even know who the suspect is.
Absolutely.
So they may have dealt with him before.
Absolutely.
Maybe, okay. This is the body cam then, right? That's why there's no audio right now.
It'll
pick up there, yeah. Yeah, it used to be a 20-second delay or something like that.
Did you have one on when we were out there? Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I was gone before we had
Yeah,
this.
no, I had and we had the grant from the federal government, so I remember the sheriff had F-TAP. And the sheriff says, hey, we want some volunteers to wear it. So I'll wear it. Let's go. I'm with it.
Oh, man. You gotta go, brother. You can't live here.
This is private property.
Private property, let's go.
What's up? Hey, nobody's creeping up on you, homie. Okay? I'm not creeping up on you. I'm a cop here. Someone calls us to meet here. Yeah, you need to get out of here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, you don't scare me. Let's go. Let's go. Don't come back either. Trespass. You go to jail next time.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to just let you be. Go. Your job is your job.
Now, how would you categorize that guy?
I'd say mentally challenged person, probably.
I would say possibly.
Possibly.
When I asked you about categorizing him, I was asking like, okay, he's being a little aggressive with his mouth.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's cooperating. They're
Like,
telling him to get up and go.
Right. He's mouthing off.
He's mouthing off. He's talking crap. Probably probably gangster, old school, a little older dude. He probably doesn't want to, lose his street cred.
Right.
So he still wants to look tough as he walks off.
Good point that you say that, because what did I just do? Again, university policing is much different than policing in Metro. And I made contact with people quite a bit. But you know what I just did? I just made an assumption based on that. And I shouldn't have done that. I just said, well, he's probably mentally challenged because he's living or he's staying over there, and he's been asked several times, and he's probably in another world. But no, mind you, he just might be someone who's been involved in the system before. He may not be mentally challenged, but
Right.
he just might be pissed off.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
so I made an assumption because I know that many of the times when we deal with people like in these types of circumstances,
Absolutely.
95% of them do
Very
so.
high
So I
percentage.
just kind of made the assumption. So that was a good point that you made. Is he's more like a 50-50 guy. He's walking away, but he's mouthing off.
Yeah, yeah.
So from what I see from here,
So far, let him go.
see you later, sir. Have a
But
great
things,
day.
yeah, things are
Okay.
quickly about to change.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
like I said, when you want me to pause, let me know.
They talk big shit until they get in the handcuffs.
I'm gonna wait for you or what?
No. Be on your way.
I live around here.
You don't live here anymore. Bye.
Want to bet?
Yeah, one bet.
Whatever you want, my boy.
I want to bet. Yeah.
Do your homework.
Go
My
ahead.
family lives here, my boy.
Now he's saying that his family lives here. I mean, he stops
Right.
and he turns. He's compliant at first,
Right.
but then he stops. He turns around and starts walking towards him.
Right.
I mean, that's a problem. The officer tells him to leave. He takes off.
Right.
If he lived there, I would have been like, officer, I live around the corner. I live right around
Yeah.
the corner. I would have told him right then and there. Now that could have changed the whole scenario
Right.
potentially.
Well, I could tell, just listening to the officers, you could tell they're a little short, meaning that, now mind you, we've all done that one time.
100%,
We've all done- and I guess this is okay.
So yeah, we ain't
I've had
trying
it
to
with this guy.
we ain't trying to act like we're better,
Right.
but
No,
we've all been in that
if we
boat.
say it's textbook, if we say textbook and it's academy style, okay, sir, thank you, have a good day, go home, and just kind of maybe step back a little bit and just
Right.
wait, and then, but then on the other side, now we have this guy and he has a history of being a little bit aggressive, so now he's walking towards me, so now this cop is going towards him, and I'm not saying he's creating a situation, I'm just saying I think he's awaiting a situation to occur, and he's getting to that mindset, okay, this is gonna go physical or hands on.
I would say at this point in time, I would put the majority of the blame on the suspect at the time.
Of course,
Because,
yeah, of course.
I mean, depending on everything that goes along there, he could have communicated with the officer more that, officer, I live around the corner. I'm not saying that the officer would have listened to him.
Right,
He
right.
still might have been like, you just need to get the hell out of
Right.
here. You still need to just get lost.
Right.
But he stops and he turns around after initially being
Right.
compliant, even though,
Right.
like you said,
Right.
passive aggressive. I don't even know if that's a proper terminology
Right.
for a 50-50 guy. He's
Right.
talking, saying, you know, because I remember in the jail there'd be a lot of guys that'd be like, I'd be like, man, you're done. You're done, man. Lock down. Go to your room. Oh, you know what, Mojo, F you, man. Screw you, man. But they're still walking
Right,
towards
right.
the door.
Right.
I'm like, you're good as long as you keep walking in that direction. You can keep running off in the mouth all you want to, as
Keep
long as you
going.
keep going. I noticed you didn't turn around and
Right.
come towards me.
Right.
Man, whatever, man. F you,
Right.
cussing me out.
Right, sure.
And you know what? I'm cool. I'm
Right.
good with that because I'm getting my way ultimately.
Right.
I could go over there and try to save face so I look cool. I don't
Yeah,
look,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I don't look bad in front of the other inmates.
Right.
But you know, you get to a certain point where I'm like, I'm not trying to prove myself. I've already made my reputation
Right,
here.
right.
People know me, and so I don't know if there's any of that going on from the officer, but I would definitely put the primary blame on the inmate,
Yeah,
not
of
inmate, on the suspect for turning around all of a sudden
Sure,
and just
sure.
in adding to the already
Well, it
potentially
just
volatile
it just
situation.
went from 50 now to like 55, 60. And
Right.
now he's going that way. Like, okay, now he's coming at me. Why is he coming at me? I let him go. He's free to go. Just keep going, man. But
Absolutely.
the guy's probably in just a bad way. And
Yeah, it's gonna get real interesting
okay.
here.
Property, my
Turn
family
around,
live
man.
here.
Turn around, put your hands on there.
What the fuck are you gonna do, my boy?
Turn around.
What
Turn
the
around.
fuck are you gonna do?
Turn around.
What the fuck are you gonna do?
Turn around.
Do what you gotta do, my boy. You don't fucking scare me, faggot.
Turn around.
Turn around for what? Ain't nobody acting defiant. Ain't nobody getting crazy but you.
459. Get 450. They're going. Give me a back up. Put your hands behind your back. Let's go. Let's go, man.
What the fuck you think I am, motherfucker? What the fuck do you think I am?
What?
Fuck you think I am?
Who do you think
You
I
think I'm
am?
some dumb fuck or what?
Who do you think I am?
I'm not fucking with you, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, you are. Turn around.
I'm not
put your hands
fucking
on
with you.
there.
I'll turn around, but
Turn
don't
around.
fucking push up on
Turn
me,
around.
motherfucker. You
Turn
ain't a
around.
fucking
Put your hands
around
behind your
or
back
have
now.
tased you.
faggot.
I think they've had a previous contact. That,
You think those two
I think they have.
officers
I think they have, or in the sense that, or this is a problem
Could be.
property that they've gone to a lot. So maybe this officer has not gone there, but he knows of like, oh man, here we go again with this property. It almost seems like it's such a familiar call, they just want to get rid of it. Like a typical 416B, 439, and let's just get it going and go to the next call. And that's the mindset I'm thinking, because he just wants to get rid of it. And I'm thinking with a guy like this, and again, everybody's different, and it's very different when it's hindsight. But I'm thinking a guy like this, maybe if we just take it to him, I say, come on, like, so almost like, hey bro, come on, man. All right, let's be cool with each other. I respect you. You respect me. But that property, you can't be on there. Please just go home. And maybe that might have, yes, maybe.
It's worth a try.
Maybe not.
It's worth a shot.
But it was worth a try. And I didn't see that yet.
Here's a good example, real quick, man. Side story. I remember I was on swing shift, evening shift, and there was a house that officers were going to all day for domestic violence, all day long. I mean, honestly, there were like 7 calls throughout the day. So I finally got assigned to it, like probably the 3rd officer on that shift. I got assigned to it. I went over there and I said, I just started talking to them. I started talking to the couple. I'm like, what's going on there? I said, this is ridiculous. We've been over here like all day, back and forth. Oh, he keeps being disrespectful to me, or she's this and that. She don't trust me. I can't go anywhere. I sat at that house probably a good 45 minutes to an hour on that call. When it was all said and done, when it was all said and done, I said, you know what, my man, I said, you got somewhere you can go. I said, because nothing happened. There was no physical violence, nothing like that.
Just arguing.
I said, you got somewhere you can go, man, because this isn't going to, I think you guys need a little break from each other. He made a phone call. He said, yeah, I got my brother coming to pick me up. I'm gonna spend a few days over there. I told his wife or his girlfriend, whatever she was, and she was like, and she's crying and all that. I don't want him to leave. I said, but the way things are right now, this isn't going to get any better.
Right.
And he left, and that was it. And I had officers like, man, you sure spent a whole lot of time over there, Muldrow. But it took that one bit of, it took some time to get the call taken care of. A few extra steps to sit there so I don't have to, so no other officer, and we're wasting officers going to this one call because everyone else probably went over there with a similar attitude, possibly. And like I said, I'm not putting all the blame on the officer in this situation right here.
Take the extra step, though.
Take that extra step. Yeah. Some people just want you to hear them. Some people just want someone to listen to them.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I talked to these guys for a couple of minutes, and they were good, and they went, and that was it. I don't ever remember having to go back over that house after that. But it was just taking those few moments to just be a good listener at times.
And you got to do that. And sometimes just you offer solutions.
Right.
So you offer the solutions. So instead of saying, listen, you got to stop arguing. So maybe a lot of the officers before said, listen, you got to stop arguing. You keep coming back, we're going to come back and make an arrest. But if you don't have any probable cause and nobody's hitting anybody and they're just arguing, well, then you're just going to keep coming back to the same thing. So you offer a solution, very simple. You listen for a little while, makes people feel good, and then walk out the door.
Man, half the time that's it.
But mind you, this is different. This is a little bit more of a dynamic encounter. This is on the street. The guy's already being somewhat aggressive. He's already resisted now to a point when he tried to lay hands on him. And then the verbiage is negative, and maybe at that time, maybe, and it's not that easy because you're not there, but they'll say, come on, bro, let's stop. Let's not get to that point. Calm down, take a breath, I respect you, okay? I didn't mean to start out that way.
Right.
But again, and you'll get a lot of the old timers that will say, hey, you know what, man, that's bullshit. When it's time to go, it's time to go, and we already put hands on them. But on the other side of that, you're again putting yourself in a situation, okay, now you want to get into a physical struggle with this person, or this person has the potential to hurt you or that other officer.
No doubt. When
maybe you can de-escalate, maybe. Again, I saw in the first part where it looked like he was reaching here. So I don't know if he was reaching.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, but
it looked like he was doing this, or he was just trying to keep his hands in tight so they couldn't take him. And that's what I think it probably was. But I don't know if he's armed or not. I can't tell.
Yeah, they didn't even have an opportunity yet.
Right, they didn't.
And it's really weird because you listen to what he's saying. He's saying, I'll turn around, I'll put my hands on my back, but you don't have to be so rough, or something along those lines of what the guy's saying. So to me, it's like you got two bulls, two hard-headed individuals. The officer don't want to get punked out, and I get it. You're on the street, everyone's watching.
He's not wrong.
He's not. You're on the street, everyone's watching you.
Right.
You up there, and you end up looking like a punk. But there's nothing wrong. I think as you get older, sometimes you get a little wiser. You're like, my man, I'm not trying to be wrestling with you. I'm over here with you. Honest, straight up. I'm not trying to be fighting with you. Turn around, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, I gave you a chance to go. Go.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not trying to take you to jail, but you're not gonna be sitting over here being disrespecting me.
Empower him a little bit.
You got to.
Go ahead, bro.
And then you still take a stance and you don't lose any, like I said, quote unquote street cred. You don't look like a punk if that's what you're so worried about.
Right.
But there been days I've had guys threaten me.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, you done?
Yeah, okay.
Are you done?
Yeah.
You done talking, man? Okay, see ya.
Yeah.
Like, go.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear it, man.
Right,
Like, honestly. But I think some of that comes with experience and age. And no wisdom.
And I'm looking at this, and it looks like this officer's probably, he sounds like he's just like a seasoned guy, like he's been on a while. So he just might be a no-nonsense guy. And
Could be. Maybe a little cynical.
Right. But he's just some no-nonsense, let's get to work, man, get out. And so now I hear it, and then I heard the female officer was about to say he was going to be tased. So he's just standing there, and he's, tensed up.
Right.
So let's see what the next portion holds.
Turn around, put your hands on your back.
The fuck you think I am? You're
Turn around and put your hands behind your back. Turn around, put your hands on your back. Let's go.
Don't fucking
Spread your
bully,
feet.
please. Don't fucking
Spread your
bully me,
feet.
my boy. Stop
Spread your
fucking
feet,
screaming,
man.
Little bitch.
Spread your feet.
Palms together, please.
Don't fight, man.
Ain't nobody
Palms together.
fighting.
Don't fight.
together.
You're fighty,
I'ma
man.
Fuck you up, bro.
You're fighty, man.
Ain't nobody fighting.
Fuck you, man. Fuck you, man.
Fuck you, motherfucker.
Fuck you, bitch.
Right there, you need to back up.
Come on,
Done.
fucker.
What the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Quit, motherfucker. Quit.
Fuck you.
What the fuck is wrong with you, motherfucker?
What the fuck's wrong with you, motherfucker?
fuck is wrong with you, dog?
Shut the fuck up.
Can you put your hands behind your back, please?
You're not cooperating. You're gonna get hit again. Get on the fucking ground.
Doing, motherfucker.
Get on the fucking ground. Go and tase the man.
Fucking hit me.
Get on the fucking ground.
We got backup coming right now.
What the fuck is wrong with
Come on.
you?
Put your hands behind your
Shut
back.
the fuck up,
Put your
man.
hands.
Who are you, dog?
Shut the fuck
What
up.
the fuck is wrong with you, my boy?
Shut the fuck up.
What the fuck is wrong with you, dog?
Shut the fuck up.
Hey, chill out, bro. Chill out.
So what do you think so far?
I'm not sure. I didn't. Did the guy become resistant? I didn't, or did he turn or something? Maybe turn toward
back
the
up a
officer?
little bit.
Because I didn't see an aggressive action on his part. I didn't see it, and again, I know that video has certain perspectives and certain angles.
Right.
I didn't see that. But the officer obviously became somewhat enraged, or it was to a point where, okay, this guy must have tried to do something that I may not be able to see, and that's possible.
Yeah,
So there's where he's trying to get his hands now. He keeps telling him to spread his feet.
He's not cooperating.
So he's not cooperating, and we know that if he's got good stance, he could turn and he could become aggressive.
Absolutely.
And next thing you know,
He's already talking a lot of crap.
Right.
He's like he's threatening.
Yeah, he is threatening.
He's threatening the officer.
Yeah, and you like this, because what happens, I won't even go back, but think about it, if he says, well, if the officer says, well, are you armed? And he says, I don't know, maybe I got something. And then, then it escalates.
Right.
And I don't know if he said that, I didn't hear that.
He didn't say anything like that.
No, I didn't hear that.
It's just really, it's strange on one end. On one end, my mindset is force was definitely justified. Force.
Yes,
at
absolutely.
some level.
Right.
LVNR, step back, tase,
Well,
whatever.
being on LA, I don't think.
I mean, I'm just saying,
I'm just saying, no,
yeah, right. But I'm just saying, if I was still out there, if it was me,
Right.
I'd be like, tase him. I mean, you're sitting up there like every time I go hands on with you, you're being aggressive. You're resisting to a degree. I'm not gonna be sitting up here tussling with you if I don't have to.
Right.
I probably would have been like, tase him.
Yeah,
And
well,
then-
I think they did it once, right?
No, they didn't tase him at all.
They didn't
The
tase
officer,
him?
the
Oh, she didn't.
female officer, basically just standing
Because he
there.
said taser, I think he said it to her.
Spread your feet.
boy.
Spread your feet, man. Spread your feet.
Palms together, please.
Don't fight, man.
Ain't nobody fighting.
Don't fight. You're fighty, man.
Fuck you up, bro.
You're fighty, man.
Ain't nobody fighting.
Fuck you, man. Fuck you, man.
Did he kick him?
Fuck you, man.
He did nothing.
Okay, it appears he did nothing.
There's another video that somebody took from across the street.
Okay.
And at no point, and
Okay.
if I can find it, at no point did that suspect kick him. He was
Right.
talking,
Right.
hands behind his back. Maybe he didn't spread his legs properly. I'm not saying that he was an innocent bystander.
No,
and
of course
the
not.
officer just went off on him.
Right.
But my concern is the level of force that the officer used was completely unnecessary. He 16 or 17 unanswered punches.
Well, not only that, he's also a pretty big guy. I'm looking at him. He's a big guy.
Which one are you talking about?
The officer.
The guy suspect ain't small either.
Well, no, he's not. He's not. I know. I get that, but I guess what I'm getting at is, well, and again, you know, everybody has different use of tactics and what they think is effective.
Right.
You know, usually hitting somebody who's like that covered up, it looks like he's covering, trying to cover up. Those punches are probably going to be very ineffective, and from my perspective, because it's very dynamic. And unless you're someone who's a very qualified striker, so to speak, like, and I'm not trying to use UFC terms, but
Right.
unless you really know how to strike a person the right way, or if that's even necessary, what happened to the takedown? What happened to a possible takedown? And then takedown, or he looks sizable enough where he might have been able to do that, and where was the other officer? So
that's what she right there in that corner.
now here's what I'm going to say. That to me is maybe a problem. Now I know she's on a taser. Well, I understand that was maybe the secondary option, was to do that but he's struggling there, and to go to the taser at that time. Do you really have to go to the taser if you have two officers that are sizable that can each get an extremity?
Well, she's pretty small.
Okay.
I mean, she's pretty small. She might be. I'm not. Trust me, I'm not making any excuses for her.
No.
Because there's a time where you put your tools up and then you gotta go hands on. And then
especially if you have a partner.
And then if you see a partner who's losing his cool,
right.
You gotta be able to step in there. Because like I said, the guy's being a jerk. Guy's being uncooperative. When the video footage of this that was taken from across the street, and you see it, I mean, it looks worse there because you don't hear all the crap the other guy's talking. But when you just see her standing back and maybe like touching, and not stepping in, man, it's just like and I understand, like, you know, the weight of, you know, wanting to step in and feeling like, okay, I want to do the right thing and all this kind of stuff, or I know I should do something here, but you know, I don't want to get
to an extremity and help your partner take him down.
She could be. He wasn't even trying to take him.
I know that, but
I'm talking about more of a if maybe she had a more physical, was a little bigger, maybe she could have intervened and been like, hey, okay, let's get this guy to the ground, or maybe even step in. And like just kind of body the officer a little bit and say, let's get him to the ground.
If you put weight on one extremity, you know this is a form of DTI as I do.
Absolutely.
You grab onto an arm and you hang on it. Well, it may not even go down, but he's going to tire out. And I don't want you to stand there for 20 hours fighting with the guy. But you had other officers on the way. They have backup. You can hear the sirens coming. So how about let's get on the extremity and just hold him down.
That's another thing.
Control him.
That's another thing. The officer could have just waited.
And I'll tell you this
too. You hear the sirens coming. He could have just sat back and said, "You know what? I'm gonna hold him at gunpoint, taser point, because you're being uncooperative. Let's wait till some more backup gets here, and then we'll take him into custody." Right. But here, and you're talking about good strikes. He's like most of those shots are like to the back of his head.
Well, I mean, the back of the head could be a good strike depending on where how you hit him.
But do you think it was justified in this encounter?
To me, you know what that told me, and I gotta be honest. We learn from this, right?
Right.
We learn from this, and we want other officers to learn from this, and maybe he might even learn from it. And again, I'm sure he'll say, "Well, you weren't here. You really don't know what the guy said."
But we've been in similar situations.
Very similar situations.
Almost identical.
To me, what that told me, that officer really his skill set was not what it should be.
100%. And skill set means physically and
his
ability. Yeah,
abilities to interact. Could have went tactical L. She could have went on the side with the taser. He could have stayed there. Maybe he had his tool out if necessary, because he's still ranting and raving, "Motherfucker, you fuck boy." Fuck.
Absolutely.
So after PR-24, which she had her taser out. You can probably handle it with that. Maybe a strike, maybe a threat with that. Then he just
I wouldn't have, me personally, no baton. I'd have been like, if I'm going to go have any tool out, it would have been a taser, something that I know is going to stop him.
And then hands on, then cover the
power. Or even have been like, I probably wouldn't have went a gun, but I would have been like, dude,
Right.
You move again,
Right.
I'm tasing.
Yeah, tasing.
Plain and
Tasing
simple.
is totally
But-
realistic.
And then
And
we
then
lock
cuff
you
on the
up
power.
and we're hooking you up.
Right.
And then play back the body camera, the way you're talking and motioning and all this kind of stuff, saying I'm gonna F you up and this and that.
Right.
You'd have been completely justified. And you have to be able to articulate
Right.
why you threw almost 20 unanswered blows to this guy's head and the guy didn't even throw any punches back.
Right.
You have to be able to justify that.
Now, mind you this. Say if he said to the guy like he said to him, and you can't hear it. Maybe he should have been able to hear it, or I shouldn't say that, but maybe he said, "Listen, motherfucker, I got a gun. Fuck you."
Totally different ballgame.
Okay, right.
Totally
No,
different
well,
ballgame.
we don't know that though. So I'm
We can hear basically
no,
everything.
no,
that's being
I
said.
know that. But I'm saying right. But I'm saying if there was some time in that video, and I'm just saying that's a possibility. It's probably not. Probably didn't happen. I don't think it did based on this.
This doesn't look like it was edited.
It didn't. So I'm gonna say he probably didn't say that. But had he said something like that, I got a knife. I'm gonna stick it up your ass. And then, I mean, I've had people say that to me, right? And next thing you know, bam, he's on the ground, and bam, he's down.
And everyone else is like, what happened?
but anyway, it looks like his skill set was a little lacking. It looks like he was a little short tempered. It looks like
A little.
well, yeah, he was short tempered, and it looks like he lacked the
I'm
skill
under
set.
I'm under the impression that he is. What concerns me is have there been any other situations where he's just lost his cool like that? It wasn't on body camera. I mean, that's my honest. That's my honest impression because he seems like the type of guy is either you listen to him or
Yeah, he's like
you're getting the hammer dropped
cut to
on
the
you.
chase.
Ain't
Cut to
too
the
much
chase.
in middle ground.
No.
Like I said, I'm not patting the suspect on the back and saying, "Oh, he was totally innocent in this."
No, not at
He
all.
should tased, taken down to the ground, whatever the case may be. He should have been handled. But we have to understand the tools that we have and when they need to be deployed and when not to. And in the culture we're living in now, this anti-police culture where everything that an officer does is being filmed and recorded, and everyone's trying to say that there's implicit bias all over the place. And you have this white officer, I'm assuming, seems like a white officer, just going off on this Hispanic citizen as the world's going to look at. Oh, see what I mean?
Well,
that's why you can't trust these guys right here.
Contempt of cop. This was contempt of cop. He got pissed off, and he let his emotions get in the way.
100%.
And so, based on what I've seen thus far, the use of force was completely inappropriate, and the other officer or that officer, because he maybe the seasoned officer, he looks like he's been on a while, like he's been around the way. And that one cop, like, okay, man, let's just take care of business and keep going, and the kind of negative mindset.
Right.
And or that officer, if that officer maybe had a little bit different skill set, is to put that taser away, make sure it's safe, and then get on the other side and say let's take him down, take him down. Or even at that point, like you said about duty to intervene, there really was no reason to be hitting that guy in the back of the head. He's off balance right there. I mean, the guy's off balance. He's forward. You could have probably tripped him.
Had this guy wanted to fight that officer, it would have been on right then.
No, he really didn't. He was just mouthing off.
That's
you could
it.
see it.
Had he wanted to fight him throwing the punches, he probably would have turned around and it would have been a slugfest.
Right.
Totally different ball game. Like if I was in that boat, if I was the suspect and I'm talking a little crap, and this ain't even my personality, I would hope that I would just be cool and not swing back. Because who knows how that can escalate.
Well, then there's emotions involved, whether it's a cop or not.
100%.
Someone's beating the shit out of you, man, and he's from around the way, so.
Yeah, 100. Who knows how that can escalate when your pride gets in the way.
Yeah.
And then you're like, when your pride gets in the way, and then you're like, I need to, I'm not gonna just have you punching me in my head.
Right.
And then next thing you got about 20 bullet holes in it.
Well,
like
next time you have a gun in the equation, you have your gun in the equation.
Right.
So you have to remember that. I mean, do you really want to be that much interconnected with somebody where you're punching him at that very close range, and then all of a sudden, you're not paying attention because when you're punching like that, your adrenaline is going, man, and you're not. And that's why that secondary officer is so vital because in a moment's notice, the next thing you know, you might be fighting for your gun.
Have you ever been in a similar situation where you see another officer just lose his cool?
Yeah, of course.
And where you intervene?
Yes.
You
have to.
I know we're supposed to do it.
You have
we're definitely supposed to do it. But did you find it difficult to be able to say, "Hey, man, enough"? or what was the interaction?
I was fortunate enough because I was the supervisor and it was a subordinate or one of my guys,
Right.
and you know who that was, and he's
Yeah,
a great guy.
yeah.
But he listened, and but I'll tell you what, I've had cops tell me to back off because I've lost my temper.
Right.
And I've had cops who worked on my squad, Sarge, we got it, back up. And you know what? That's the absolutely right thing to do. Because we're all human beings.
And in hindsight, you appreciate that.
Hell yes, I do.
You appreciate that, because that could have been your career, 100%.
You might say my career, but not only that, it's the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
We don't need to be getting to that
Absolutely.
point. And that's happened to cops over the course of years, because when we're macho and we got to step up, oh no, we got to do it, and that's just the way it is. No, man, because
Right.
it changes everything down the way people look at us. When they see that you're cool, calm, and collected, or even if you're in a struggle, but you get that struggle, kind of you've handled it in a manner that's swift and
Didn't
in
take it
control,
too far.
and didn't take it too far, or maybe you had like this one, instead of hitting him like that, because it apparently wasn't having much effect on him. Well,
He was still,
it didn't
still
work.
talking.
Well, how about switch? Then switch and like go to the takedown, or back off and then go to a tool.
100%.
And then maybe the guy might say, "Okay, man, I give up. Okay, man, stop."
Had he thrown a few shots and then like tried to take
Yeah,
him
like
down,
one or
I would have
two.
been like, okay,
Like,
I'm getting
yeah.
it. Based on his mouth and all the things he was saying, I would have been 100%.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy, dude?
Chill out.
Shut the fuck up.
453, 415, man.
You fucking grabbed my hand, motherfucker. That's why you hit me.
I didn't grab your shit.
You grabbed my hand. So shut the.
Okay, that was another thing I was gonna bring up. Like, say for example, when we're doing the pat down. Now, what?
I'm sorry, I ain't believing him.
No.
I don't believe him.
No, well,
I could be wrong, but I don't
based
believe
on the totality of circumstances, I was thinking, well, because it looked like he had him in the butterfly. Like you had him like this.
Okay, yeah.
And then he came up and he grabbed it. It looked, I'm pretty sure he grabbed
Could,
it.
yeah.
So now, the only way that guy can really grab his hand, he'd have to disengage one and then grab it. So, and now if somebody did that, pulled out right away, and you're there, well then there's the armbar takedown. You're right there.
Right.
Armbar takedown, boom. Or you disengage and go to a tool. So that never happened. Now, mind you, if he thought he was reaching for something and he thought maybe he was in possession of a weapon.
He never articulated.
Right, never articulated. However, but then the strikes again, they weren't working. If you hit somebody 15 times and they don't go down, and I don't know how many times it was exactly.
It's like 16, 17 times.
But
Easy.
if you're doing that and it's not working, and then you're also gassing out, and then your partner seems to be of limited capacity, because she's just standing around.
That's a
You know,
good way. That's a good way of putting it.
No, limited capacity. No, but think about it. She's like doing the dance around.
She was completely worthless.
The one thing
Completely.
one time I had a recruit in the academy that was a female, and it was the fighting scenarios, and the whole time she was dancing around it, and I lost my mind. I actually got a contact report for that, because you know how I go off sometimes.
No.
And I said, what the fuck are you doing? You got to get in there. That's your partner getting his ass kicked.
Right.
You got to get in there. That's what we do. And you know what? You might lose your life. But that's why we're here. You got to do that. Mm-hmm. And I was screaming at the top of my lungs. But
This was in the academy? Or?
This is in the academy. No, this is in the academy. But I know there are officers like that.
You got a contact for that?
I got a contact for that. Yeah. Well,
It's
because
the reality
I was using a lot of
F-words,
expletives. Yeah.
expletives.
And I know at the time he was Captain Dally. Remember Mike Dally? He was our captain.
Yeah.
He was my sergeant at the time. And he thought it was the greatest thing that ever happened. He said, "Yeah, I got to do it because the captain." Yeah, I get whatever.
Yeah, you got it.
It is. I get it. But see,
Political.
with this, but that. You know, again, totality. See, you grab my hand. Well, did he grab your fingers? I mean, maybe he pulled out and grabbed the finger, and then he could break your finger. It's possible, but it didn't appear like he had it. It didn't appear that he could have done that. Based on what I saw.
I think he realized that he lost his cool, and he's trying to save face.
Yeah,
and
you
he's
grab
trying to.
well, you grab my hand. So what?
Yeah,
So
exactly. So you punched
disengage.
me. Yeah, so you punched me a
15
dozen and a half
times.
times. You know, so because I grabbed. Okay. If I grab your hand and the next thing you know, like I said, an arm bar or whatever the case may be, I'm on the ground, totally different ball game. But he's throwing punches, and you see at one point he steps back and he kind of does that. He has sunglasses that are falling off his head, and he throws the sunglasses down, and then he re-engages and he starts throwing more punches.
Yeah. And then just that to me just let's go to the end.
So shut the fuck
I
up.
grab shit, but okay, do it here.
I had you. You fucking grabbed your hand.
Suspect in custody.
It's cool. I'm not tripping. I ain't saying shit.
How'd my finger get like that? How'd my finger get like
I
that?
bet you.
Steele, chill out, all right?
453 Rogers, gonna be a 4-4. Suspect in custody.
She wasn't cooperating.
Huh?
Guys, he's the most friendly guy, right?
He's the most free. Get inside. He's the most friendly guy. He fucking attacked me.
I really don't. But he's a really good
Just get inside. Get inside.
In closing, what would you say about this?
You know what? That video should be used for academy training. And again, I know I want to go back to and I remember when I was in the academy as a TAC officer,
Mm-hmm.
and academy when I was a
Trainee.
new recruit,
Yeah.
trainee, and I remember, mind you, I went through in '92, and we were still pretty, hands-on, but we had
Yeah.
restrictions, but we weren't. I mean, that was the time of Rodney King. I was in the academy when that whole thing occurred.
Oh, wow.
And I was in the academy, and then they were watching for us when we were leaving because they thought that everybody from the west side was going to come over and attack the academy and Northeast Area Command, and it never happened. But what I think about is we want to be at a level of some adequacy. What I saw there was
What do you mean?
a level, be adequate or proficient to the point that you can handle someone like that. And I know you can say, hey, you weren't there, you really don't know.
Right.
But I saw quite a bit, and I'm taking totality of circumstances. I'm taking your demeanor, your verbal interaction with this person, your physical interaction with the person, like moving towards him again, when maybe you didn't have to take that point. Then the next thing you do is you jump the level without trying to at least engage this guy a little bit of conversation. I'm not telling you to stay there forever and say, sir, come on.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
just kind of try to reason. Come on, bro, it's time to go. You don't live here. This is not your property. Please just go. I know you're a little upset. You want to call me this or that. So you have to have that demeanor as a police officer that you got to be thick-skinned. So you can't
100%.
you can't let a guy like that get to you, because that's what he was trying to do the whole time. He was trying. I'm assuming this will probably get a lawsuit. I would imagine.
Oh, he's
It's
gonna get
fine.
paid. They'll probably sell it. He'll probably get like 20 grand or something.
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that. Yeah, the
But
Metro,
he'll get paid.
Metro does 5,000 all the time for that. That's what they do. They do 5,000 all the time. People make complaints, so they have a little bank account for that. That officer, and then mind you, I mean, I don't know his full history, but that's someone who definitely needs some retraining.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, and he may be he strikes me as the guy who's been in probably the street a long time, and he strikes me as the guy when we do DTIs, he's in the corner like he didn't want nothing to do with it. We're going to the range, we gotta go to the range. That's the guy he strikes me as. The guy that don't give a shit about his training.
Don't work out.
I mean.
He's just a big guy.
He's just a big guy, and he could probably handle most guys, and maybe he
Because
has
he's
for a
bigger.
while. Well, you know what, man? But it's a little different when you're an officer of a smaller stature. But you were the perfect example of the opposite of that. That would have never happened.
Yeah,
Just knowing you, that would
yeah.
never would have happened.
I've had situations where I've lost my cool before.
Oh, you have.
I've lost my cool before, and I've had to have people tell me, like, of course, the majority of them happened to me during my corrections career, because that was the majority of my
And
time.
that's a different environment.
I remember there was a time where I literally wanted the officer I was working with to open up a cell door, so I can go in there.
Yeah,
Because this
that's
guy
right.
was running his mouth the whole night, 10-hour shift, and he's MFing me, talking about my mom, talking about just being all night, all the other inmates laughing.
Right.
I said, man, open the door up, because I'm about to put it on the dude. And so I'm done with this guy. And he was like, Eric, please, man, shift is almost over, man. Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
And he was right.
And he was 100% right. I was wrong.
That. Yeah,
You know, I
can't do
mean,
that.
who knows? I mean, honestly, you think you can whoop everybody. I could have went in there and I could have been left laying up in there by this
The
dude.
bottom line is we're held to a higher standard. Man.
Absolutely.
We can't become goons. And that's why I say we go back to, we can't brutalize people, man. We can, we're in that fight and we're in that battle and we're punching and kicking and LVNRing and doing whatever we have to do, we do it till the time when the cuffs are on it and the game is over.
That's it.
And but then there's also has to be it's not the term minimum use of force I never liked.
Yeah.
The term I like is appropriate use of force.
Right.
Because appropriate for him based
Or
on
even
size
that-
and stature.
Yeah, I like saying necessary.
Right,
Yeah,
unnecessary.
Or either, or yeah, that's good.
But
Appropriate.
an appropriate use of force for someone like him with that size probably would have been a takedown and and then direct that other female who probably seemed like she was maybe an officer who hadn't been on as long as him, maybe,
Or just
maybe intimidated by him, because some cops are intimidated by other cops.
Absolutely.
And then him say, okay, come on over, let's get the other hand, and then control it right away. Whereas you took it to a level that was just to me it seemed just totally inappropriate. You're hitting somebody in the back of the head for maybe allegedly grabbing your hand or grabbed it. He didn't attack you. That one I'll get you. He did not attack you. How he grabbed your finger and maybe tried to break it, it's possible. I couldn't see that anywhere in
Yeah,
in
it wasn't visible. I mean, that's probably going to be his argument. He says, "How did my finger get like that?" But if you watch the video, it's throwing the punches are so wild.
Yeah.
You're hitting the guy in the back of his head. I think he even punched the chain link fence at one point.
But
That's
also you hit the
probably
back
how
of
you-
someone's head, you might break a bone.
Right,
Break your
100%.
finger.
That's what I was saying. That was
And a carpal.
It was, yeah. I mean, you have the issue of the excessive use of force by the male officer, and then you have the female officer who just did absolutely nothing as far as trying to intervene whatsoever. Maybe she felt intimidated by the aggressive nature of the officer. She did call for additional backup. She acknowledged she's going to have to pay a price for this because she acknowledged that the force was inappropriate. When they watched the video, officer, you need to calm him down. I know.
Right.
So she's going to have to be able to articulate why she didn't do anything. But at the same time, you was in a rage.
And
She
it's
could have been
fast.
like, "What am I going to do?" And it happened quickly.
Well, the other thing, now someone who say maybe a little bit better with all their tools, because she went up and done a dry stun on the guy.
You got to be real quick thinking to do that.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Well,
Like
what is that?
pop and
But
then-
what does that come back to? No, just you take it off and just go up and do the drive stun.
Do you think that would have? Yeah.
Well, it's pain compliance. It's just another tool because this wasn't working. She could have stepped there. I got it. Let me get it and put it on his neck. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, is it possible?
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, it is possible. I'm just saying that was another. There was so many other options available. Or she could have holstered her taser and went on the other side. Say, okay, let me drop the weight on until the other guy's
Yeah,
come. Let's keep him
maybe
down.
a little bit is because I've seen situations where officers lost their cool before.
Right.
And
And
I
he-
stepped in or another officer
Right.
stepped in and they're like, "No, let's get him down.
Right, let's get him down, let's get him
and
down.
they're like, their command presence and the fact that they bodied up the
Right,
other officer
sure.
forced the other officer to kind of say, kind of catch his breath,
Right.
get his thoughts together, get his cool, not catch your cool, like whatever the term is,
Right.
get his act together and then take the guy down
Right,
to the
right.
ground.
And then you breathe about it. And
But then if you're 5'4", if 5'5", and
But still, you
maybe-
can hang on that extremity.
all I'm saying is just that you're maybe 150 pounds. I'm not, like I said, I'm not giving her a pass. I think that she was totally inept in that entire confrontation,
It
and
was
she
almost-
should have done more.
Yeah. No, actually, I mean,
And she's gonna have to pay a price for
she
that.
will. I mean, there was probably a duty to intervene on. Not probably. It definitely was a duty to intervene, and the duty to, at a minimum, intervene on the sake of let's get this guy into custody before it goes out of hand. Because you see he's hitting him. He did 1 punch, 2 punch, 3 punch, 4. Okay, we're going. We're probably just doing a little too much. This is not a UFC fight.
Right.
You know, where the guys just keep hitting until the referee gets in the middle of it. Well, on this particular one, though, you were the referee and you need to get in.
The referee would have called it off right there.
So I mean, I understand that policing is a very stressful position. I know
No
it from
doubt.
experience, and I know sometimes people get lost in the cloud and in the muddle of the whole thing. But that particular incident, if we're going to learn anything from it, right? We know that there were other tactics that could have been employed.
Absolutely.
Could have done different things a lot differently. You know, a little tactical L, one with the taser, verbal commands, a little verbal de-escalation, waiting for backup, additional backup if 2 weren't not enough, if you didn't think it was enough.
Right.
The point you went hands on, I can't see whether he grabbed your finger or not. Maybe he did, you pulled away. But then, okay, then you go on to the rant of, you know, continually striking, having minimal to no effect at all. He may have even broken his hand and hitting that guy in the back of the head.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
With the adrenaline. So just overall, that should be a good training tool. And so the one thing, do I want the officer to lose his job? No. But do I think the officer needs some serious retraining? Yes.
Absolutely. He might lose his job.
does
in
he-
the day and the culture we're in now,
Does
it's
he,
very possible.
right? And then you say, well, look at the overall record. Maybe he's got a great record. Maybe he had a bad day. But that interaction, that one there, tells me that that's almost like it's a pattern. And I can't say.
Yeah,
but
you
his
kinda
whole
get
demeanor,
the impression.
he's that guy. He's no nonsense, no bullshit. If you're not gonna go, you're gonna get your ass whooped. And that's the kind of guy he walked around. And those are the kind of cops we really can't have around anymore, unless the supervision is to
Very
a point
true.
where you can't be that way anymore. So this incident, in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing, I know there are some unknowns, things that I can't see completely, but based on this, it was inappropriate use of force. He escalated it when he really didn't need to, in my opinion, my humble opinion. And there were other tools, better tactics they could have used, but they're probably inefficient. They're inadequate because they don't train enough. And they don't talk. How about a minimum talk about it? Remember we talk about things. Hey, you
Absolutely.
get this. I remember when Bashir had a guy like he was on the ground, and we were talking about how you could have disengaged or how you could have gotten. We're just talking about things where we can just think.
And we would always do that. We'd have a hot call during the day. At the end of the day, at debrief, we talked about it. And there's sometimes we would get into it.
Yeah.
Like, somebody would say something like, you know what, let's not fuss about all that. You know, everything worked out. And I'd be like, no. And there were times where I was like, no, that's not good enough, man. Because we may have been lucky that time. But would that same tactic be effective in every case?
No.
Probably not. So we need to talk about this so we can make sure that we know what to do if enough. I remember one time it was like a bomb threat at the DMV on Sahara. It might have been another. We were looking for. You remember when we had the lockdown? What's that school on? Is it Bridger? The performing arts school?
Yeah. Okay.
We had to lock that down. There was like
Oh
a
no,
bank
that was
robbery
that was
suspect.
that was the high school, Performing Arts High School. That's on 7th and Clark, I think.
Okay,
yeah,
Clark.
my son went there.
Clark.
That's why.
Clark.
Yeah.
But we had I think a guy
Yeah.
might have tried to rob the Nevada State Bank across the street.
Yeah, we locked down
we had
the
to
whole
lock
school.
down the whole school, and we're all searching for him. They eventually find him in a dumpster or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember like we had to stay after shift a little bit, but we waited around a few minutes just to have a little bit of a dialogue. I think we really took it further the next day.
Right.
But I love the mindset, your squad, Cindy's squad, just the mentality that
we're professionals.
I loved it, man. I mean,
professionals.
seriously, it was like we need to improve.
Yeah.
And I remember like having a conversation with Cindy when I first came on the squad. She brought me in the office and was just talking to me a little bit because Auschwitz and I knew some of the guys on her squad, and she just told me about like an experience where she had to draw a gun on somebody. She shot the guy. She completely missed it.
Yeah.
And she said she was embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
But then she got people around her who helped her improve her skills. And she just sat and just shared that with me. I didn't ask her.
She was a rookie when that happened.
Yeah, I didn't ask her.
She caught a lot of slack for that.
Yeah, but she understood that there's a hole in my game.
Yeah.
And then you see how it affected her throughout the course of her career.
Because she cared about her guys.
She cared about her guys, and she wanted to take care of herself.
But
self-preservation.
But also to be just good at what you do.
Absolutely.
Right? You're going to shoot maybe no times in your career, but just be good at it.
Yeah.
You're going to be hands-on almost every day.
No doubt.
But just be pretty good at it.
Right.
You don't have to. Again, you don't have to be Bruce Lee or any of these but you have to be proficient.
And you have to have some level. If you're smaller in size, and we can even talk about this next time.
Right. Okay.
If you're smaller in stature, what are some of the things? And like I said, this can be a conversation part of the conversation next week. What are some of the things that you can do to kind of balance that out?
Right.
To kind of okay, I may not be the biggest guy in the world, but I need to add some other tools.
And one thing I want people to understand though, we're not here to bash other cops. We want to learn from them. And this officer, I don't know him personally. I'll probably never meet him, but he made some errors, as did the female officer. And those errors sometimes will result, and I'm almost sure that you're probably going to have some backlash on this, and I hope you get through it. But take a look at yourself. Say, man, I could have done that better, and I made a big mistake. And true leadership would say to yourself, hey, you know what? Like if you told them, man, I was just really lacking in my tactics, and I lost my temper, and I made a big mistake there, and I don't want to do that again. So I'm going to start training a little bit better, start working on certain things, because I want to be the ultimate professional. And
100%.
and in policing, when you wear that uniform, everyone's looking at you, man.
No doubt.
And I can tell you, people in that part of that conversation when they said you need to control them. I mean, do I want somebody saying that to my partner because I'm out of control?
Right.
No.
Right.
I don't. And so we know there are certain things we got to do. So I hope both those officers get some retraining and get some understanding of it. Hey man, you're involved. That was on Hollenbach. That's a pretty busy area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no joke. I don't.
Yeah. Right.
So they're busy. So they're like a downtown. So you guys are busy. You got to be good and confident in the stuff you deal with. So that's what we want. We don't want to bash. We want people to learn from it. And if new officers see that and they say, it's probably not good. What could I have done better? So you think about your options and try to employ those options, whereas the outcome is favorable, and you don't look like just some brutal cop who goes around smashing people.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want to stop the perception that people of having. We want them to know that, no, cops do it. There are cops, a ton of cops that would have done that many, many different ways, and it would have looked a lot better, and you probably would have been applauding.
No doubt.
So
No
that's
doubt.
where we're at. But other than that.
I agree 100%, man. Hey, good stuff, man. Once again, That's it for this week.
All right.
In the meantime, y'all, stay safe. God bless. And next time, you make sure you join the conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Peace out.